here, well, they defined that developing and refining our product or service to meet the needs of our target customers. Like, um, according to certain other solutions that we have developed, sir, we don't have any direct contact with any of our stakeholders. Like, we generate revenue through a business model that like earns revenue through the commission, like commission basis. So, like in such cases, there are stakeholders who like do not come into the picture, but they actually play a major role in our existence. So,
Mhm.
in such cases, what can I do? Like, how can I tailor make my product so as to meet the people who are like behind the scenes, but actually they don't come in the picture?
Well, uh, if they don't come in the picture, as in they are not users of your product, but they facilitate transaction or sales, right? I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
either like a distributor or like a warehouse, because where
Yeah,
it's one of the key touch points in the product life cycle.
yeah.
Well, so what is the question there? How do you?
Like tailor make the product, because we know that certain stakeholders are directly in contact with us who actually make our product work. But in order to like go hand in hand, such stakeholders who like do not come into the picture also play a major role, right? So how can we develop like a
Well,
product or a service that
it is very contextual, right? See, today morning I was talking to a business which is in Middle East. So basically they are in the frozen fish space, right? So if uh, even a plane, right? If you are shipping a frozen fish through a transport service provider, right? Like Blue Dart or whatever, some plane.
Hmm.
When you take the uh, uh, first of all, you need to be able, wherever it is fished, wherever it is stored, you need to be transporting the fish in a frozen container, a mobile frozen container. So when it goes there, even the plane guys, first thing they do is check what is the temperature at which it is brought in. See, if any frozen food have to have, there is a degree between which the temperature should be maintained at. So they just check for that. So you don't go and open the door and wait for them to come. They come, they open the door, check the temperature if it qualifies within the range, because then otherwise they will be sued for at the time of delivery the temperature was good, but you it got temperature went low, because then you waste the whole product, right? So the airlines will be sued for shipping and spoiling something en route. So they check before taking in. So if you look at it, there are multiple stakeholders here. One is a stakeholder which is the uh, somebody who fishes it, then harvesting it,
yes,
somebody who's storing it. I mean, who at the first harvest they clean up and
warehouses.
package it and put it to the cold rooms. And from cold room, if it has to be shipped, they partner with a third party who does the shipping. Or if they do it themselves, then they have to do it themselves. But many of these guys do it themselves because they don't trust the third party to maintain those things. And then plane. So the third party, they have to depend on it because most of these guys don't have their own private jets to ship the produce food, fish. So they engage them. So the airlines will check that. So there they check, and if the flight is for a longer duration, they even employ IoT there. So what happens is that there is a contract with the airlines that they need to provide Wi-Fi to sync with their boxes.
Yeah, to provide real
So
time data.
not real time, on a designated time. See, if it is something, let's say, shipped from India to Europe, if it is a 8-9 hours flight, right? Then every 3 hours, 4 hours, they are every 1 hour they may want the temperature data to be made available so that it is sustained. right? So what if they switch it off? What if they don't make available to keep the maintain the temperature, or
So
whatever is the fear? So there are multiple stakeholders who come play this role, and then again it gets delivered at the time of point of delivery. Whoever picks it up, they again first thing they do is check the temperature, and all through they get an IoT data from the cloud that okay, it is maintained this range all through that. So every stakeholder has it. So in such a scenario, what is essential is that one, if you are the one who's making the product available, you may have to ensure that you send the containers, freezing containers, with perhaps the IoT data, so that it keeps communicating the temperature that it is maintained, so that it will not put the risk on the stakeholder. So stakeholders commitment, in this case, if it is the airlines, or if it is that mobile uh, cold storage transporter, so everybody will have to have their commitments in terms of limited commitments, which could be providing certain data access, so that that temperature is captured, pushed to the cloud, so that if you are keeping track of it, or if your customer has to keep track of it. So you actually, no matter what product or service you come in, you need to bring in the element that secures the stakeholders' interest. In this scenario, securing stakeholders' interest is uh, keeping up with the tracking of the temperature. Are you getting
yeah,
where I'm
yes, sir.
coming from?
Yeah,
So
yes, sir.
that is how you stitch in. So it is not always about how you sell the product. So what you have
Right.
to understand is what is your dependency on the stakeholder, right? What will
Okay. Yeah.
increase his confidence or what will reduce his confidence? And that is
Okay.
what you have to address.
Okay. So because we had faced a similar kind of problem, like in our
Mhm,
business model. So
mhm,
since our like we deal with electronic waste, we like we were initially we were thinking that we'll receive these electronic waste as an
mhm,
input from large companies, like
mhm,
these manufacturers. But then we found out that if we had a sort of a something called as EPR, extended producer responsibility. So if
mhm.
we impose such a law on ourselves, saying that we'll take the responsibility of your waste and process it, so that will be a kind of exchange of trust there, right? Like instead of, uh, as I said, like the stakeholder will have confidence in our business model if I impose a kind of an exchange.
Yeah, if you are talking about picking it up, it may not be really extending the EPR, but yeah, sometimes you have to see the dependency, sometimes you have to see the compliance,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to see the business risk, sometimes you have to see the continuity,
Hmm.
and pick which has a bigger implication from a business point of view and
Okay.
address that part. So if you are just saying that you're picking up, it could well be a response mode, because even the competition picks it up from there. So you
Ah,
also
yes,
have
sir.
to. Sometimes you may have to respond from the completely unrelated, right? It's a third party thing. If a computer picks up, he may say that why should I deliver because competition is picking up. Either you also come and pick up, then I'll give you, or I'll go with him because it takes away my cost. So it's not really an
Right.
extension. So you really have to
Hmm.
identify if competition is also picking up, you're also picking up. So how else can you do something which addresses the critical need point of view for which they will become dependent on you, and it adds value to them and it makes better sense for you. So
Okay.
you need to look at the whole cycle little more detail, break down every aspect of it and see what are the critical aspects and where can we create a larger impact which secures our interest and as much as contributes to their interest.
Ah, yes, sir. I guess probably doing a detailed survey like on
Yeah,
field
you
would
you you
actually help
you
me.
really have to, yeah, sometimes not just survey, just record what
Yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Right.
observe what
Hmm.
happens through the day.
Yeah, sir.
Sometimes you may have to do it more than a day, because some of these things may be a particular day in a week, sometimes a particular day in a week in a month. So or
Yeah.
sometimes it may be associated with, in case of electronic waste, it may be associated with soon after their festival sale campaign. Because in the festival sale, if they offer any returns, then they will be loaded with that. So soon
yes,
after that, they need to clear. So how do they address it? What can happen there? What can happen elsewhere? So you need to stitch up. You need to evaluate a lot of other things. You may also have to see that whether you will be able to provide with a resource who will do a in-store service for the customer, because most of these retail outlets may not have a in-store service. So if it is about replacing a small component, and if you are able to keep a technician right there with a soldering machine and screwdriver, where he
okay,
opens, takes out, puts in some
yeah,
small things at a local small level. So
yeah,
it can also be commercially viable from a point of it's a transaction for you, and also it's
yes,
comfort for the customer, because your customer has made his customer happy, right? And also you just gather your waste as a part of the process, because you just replaced it, you charge them money for it, and anyway this board has been replaced and that board is going into your kitty.
right,
So you have to look at the cycle and also identify, should you be having the person technician sitting there all the time? Should it be available once a week? Even if it is once a week, should it be on a Sunday or a Monday, or which day and why? So
right,
this is where you need to be studying the whole process, and it depends on the location, it depends on the place. So it comes down from purely doing a observation for a period of time, and then you'll be able to arrive at it.
okay, sure, sir.
Anybody else? No questions? So what do you guys want to do? I mean, if you don't want to ask anything, is there a compulsion for you to come into these sessions? Is that how it is?
No compulsion as of now.
Okay. No, but then I'm just wondering, uh,
Actually,
did you guys
even
at least, yeah.
yeah, you're telling something, right?
No, I'm just wondering whether uh, did any of them go through the
Okay,
deck?
okay.
Uh, yeah, go ahead. Shatakshi Parikh. Yep. And Jay Kumar. One of you, go ahead.
Sir, I
You're,
have, sir,
yeah, Jay Kumar.
hello.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
I am not, I have some doubt regarding my project. I haven't moved forward from idea, not much the ideation stage. So, how can I communicate to you through WhatsApp also?
Okay. The only
Okay,
thing
sir.
is you can't expect instant response. That's it.
Hello, sir.
You
Pardon?
don't expect an instant response, I said.
Okay, 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 sir.
So,
Okay, sir.
Actually, if you are
all right.
comfortable, you can discuss it here only, Jai Kumar.
Yeah, Jai
Yeah,
Kumar,
it
you want
will
to
be
discuss?
Okay.
useful
But
for
see,
everyone.
this Shatakshi's got a hands up, so go ahead and talk. You had your hand. Jai Kumar, he had his hand earlier up, so we'll just listen to him and address that, and we'll come back. Shataksh, you want to go ahead?
No, sir.
But
Tomorrow, sir, tomorrow,
Jaykumar, okay, you don't want to speak now. It's okay. All right.
tomorrow
Shatakshi, you want to? Okay, message me. Sure.
Yes, sir.
That-
Sir, am
okay,
I
sorry, I
audible?
said he. You are audible now. Yeah, but your mate says you're muted, so I don't know how you're audible. So go ahead.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Sir, actually, I had an idea wherein we see nowadays that younger kids are usually equipped with mobile phones at a very young age. Like whenever they are kind of irritated and annoying, and usually parents give mobile phones to them. So, what about we create a device which would help in their betterment and growth other than using mobile phones at such a young age, which harms their eyes and hinders their learning ability as well. So how should I go about it? Like I have this idea, but I don't have the direction, like in which direction I should take it.
So what? So you want to propose what? Some kind of a gaming for children so that they don't spend their time on mobile phones. Instead of mobile, they could
Yes,
spend
sir.
their time doing something
Yes,
else.
sir. Yes, sir. Kind of something much more creative and enjoyable rather than the harm caused by mobile phones.
Well, uh, so what is stopping you from going ahead with that?
So actually, I'm unable to like go for another step. Like I'm confused whether I should go for any game or I should go for anything else. Like I'm unable to figure it out that what is the most suitable thing which I can make for younger kids.
Uh, okay, what are the options you have?
So I had an option like to create a game,
Okay,
but I'm thinking of something more innovative.
okay. Uh, okay, first thing is
So
that instead of
I just wanted
uh,
your advice, like how I should go about it.
okay, so first thing is that
Will you please
you
repeat?
can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir. Now you're audible. Yes, sir.
Okay. See, first thing is that you do an exercise of defining what is the profile age group that you're looking at, right? Uh, so have you thought through that? Do you have some age group in mind?
Yes, sir. The age group between 3 to 10.
Okay. Well, between 3 to 10, there are two subgroups, right? I think between
Yes, sir.
3 to 6 is a preschool group and 6 to 10 is a
Yes,
school
sir.
group.
Yes, sir.
So, so if you are trying to do that, ideally you need to pick. You can't have something similar to both 3 to 6 and 6 to 10. So you need to
Yes,
pick
sir.
something for either one group. So please do that part. Which one you want to pick?
Okay.
And second thing is, see, let's look at it. What are the scenarios in which these children get phones, right? Number one,
Yes, sir.
in most probable scenario is that these children cannot buy, I mean, no, not most probable, most certainly, definitely, these kids are not buying phones for themselves. So adults are giving them
Yes, sir.
phones. So why are adults
Yes,
giving
sir.
them phone? Adults are giving them phone because they are not able to engage them. So adults are busy, right?
Yes, sir.
So one case, adults are busy, they are not able to engage them, doing whatever. Either they are busy with their work or at home or office or whatever. And uh, so if you are talking about building something, one adults are the first audience, right? They are the ones who decide to buy. They need to be convinced that this is
Yes,
a
sir.
better option than phone. And most important thing is, can it replace a phone from a adult point of view, right? It's not just the child point of view. What does adults see when they are handing over a phone to a child? Do you get where I'm coming from? See, child does not pick up a phone by
Uh,
itself. Adult gives the phone. So what is the
yes,
adult
sir.
giving the phone for? Why is the adult giving the phone for the phone to the child?
Because they are not able to give time to their kids
No,
as
no,
they are
that is their
engaged in
side.
other
But what is
activities.
their expectation? What is their expectation on the child? Their expectation from the child with the phone is that one, the child should get completely distracted into the phone so that they are not nagging the parent, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So whatever you build has to have the quality of distraction, one, and two, has to have the quality of holding the attention for a relatively longer period, like a phone. What do they see in a phone? They'll possibly put a video on a YouTube or something else. I've even seen people handing out Instagram, and child is taught how to scroll through the reels. So it
Yes,
keeps watching, it gets bored, it scrolls to the next. But the child can be kept busy as much as you and me can be kept busy with that stupid thing.
yes,
So
sir.
you need to have something, even if it is a game. Number one, most importantly, what is a scenario where the phone is being given? The child is alone, right?
Yes, sir.
So the game you build has to be one person game. Child has to
Okay.
be occupied by itself. And two, it has to be distracting enough that the child does not go and nag the parents. Three, it has to be holding the attention for a relatively longer period of time so that child stays with it. It should not get bored quickly. If it gets bored quickly, then the parent is again forced to pull that whatever your game out and again put the phone back in, because the child can be occupied with the phone for an hour. So
Yes, sir.
these are the aspects. So when you say you want to build something innovative, please put this framework first, that it can be played by one person, it can be distracting enough, and it will hold attention distracted from anything else happening around, because the phone is audio and visual. It
Yes, sir.
captures two of the most important uh, elements, right?
Uh,
So you need to have aspects that holds such attention if you have to have that. So you need to figure out what can you do from a game point of view that it meets all these three criteria. Then I think you will have a super success in achieving this aspect. And then the rest of the things come in terms of how, see, if you are proposing it as a safer option, then you need to figure out you use safe materials with that, right? Because child also has a tendency to put it to the mouth. And if it does put it to the mouth, what happens? And uh, can it still be safe? And then it may drop. And if it drops, can it have any sharp edges that it can hurt? Even to hold, it can't have sharp edges. So there are a lot of aspects from a child product design point of view that you need to look at, that it can't be sharp. Even if it falls on them, it can't be too heavy that it hurts them. So, so you have to look at form factor, feel factor, and then it has to have colors, but at the same time it has to have healthy colors, because if you use some chemicals, some paints, which if it licks, or even if they have a habit of biting into it, and many times children of smaller age have a habit of smelling. So what happens? How do they get packed also, even if that is given as a gift? Because if it goes with a packing, and if they end up playing, if it is wrapped around with a lot of plastic, and kids watch things, they may tie it around their neck, they may think that it is Superman thing, but they may actually choke themselves, or they may see all kinds of videos. So there are so many aspects, every aspect you have to look at it. And pricing becomes another crucial thing, because many a times parents are giving their own phones to the child, so there is no additional cost to it. So if they have to buy a safe toy which replaces the phone which they are not paying for, then what could be the cost element that they can afford? So so please look at
Yes, sir.
all these aspects, and then you will be able to arrive at it. But it's a good exercise. What I encourage you to do is that indulge more people, indulge a group to talk about it. Then you will actually get points on each aspect. It's These are the kind of projects which are best done with a group of people.
Excuse me, sir. Will you please repeat once again?
Repeat.
Excuse me, sir.
What do you want me to do?
Yes, sir.
No. What do you want
Uh,
me to do?
Please repeat it again.
Wow. Repeat what
Sir,
all?
you said what you encourage me is. Sir, from encourage, you said something.
Uh,
After encourage.
I don't remember, when did I say encourage? Something before and after. 1 second.
Actually, the weather here is
Pratham,
quite
will this
hilly.
video be shared with her? Will this video be shared with
Yes,
everybody?
yes,
I
yes.
know you're.
With
Can you?
everyone. Yeah.
Okay. Can you, if you don't mind, uh, Shatakshi, right?
Yes, sir.
Hello. If you don't mind, can you just watch the
Sir,
video
it
and
will
see?
be shared on the
Because
WhatsApp. No.
I don't know, where do you share, Pratham?
Yeah, we'll be sharing the link in
Yes,
the
sir, sure.
WhatsApp
But
group.
where will it be?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll be sharing the link in the WhatsApp group, which includes all the sessions from starting.
And you will get the mail also if you have registered the session.
Okay.
So Shatakshi, please listen to it. If you still have any doubt, you can write to me, and I'll see if we can help it. But listen to it. I am not able to figure from where I should repeat. And looks like audio may be having a problem only at your end, because others don't have a problem listening to me, right?
Yeah, you are loud and clear.
So I think it has gone to the record
Uh,
properly. So
mm.
you should not have a
Yeah, yeah.
problem with that.
Okay, sir.
But it's amazing the way I see it. You're shown muted and you're still speaking. So I really don't know how it's happening. But it's nice to see some magic. Any other question? Shatakshi, you have any other question, because your hand is still
No, sir.
okay. What is this? Shahid came and left a message. Is it caught up with multiple engagements this week? So you're there, Shahid?
Good evening, sir. I'm still there. Sorry, I couldn't
Good
engage
evening.
with you last session.
No, not a
I
not a
was
problem.
completely
Not a
swamped
problem.
with multiple tasks.
No. Perfect. But did you have a chance to look at the deck? Did you try anything on the uh, GTM for your venture? I don't know what venture you
No,
you
I
mentioned some school.
no,
School
school
you
is a
run.
different venture. This venture is actually a fintech.
Okay.
It's yeah. I couldn't brief you last time, but uh, to be in a very concise manner, if I should say, this fintech idea is based on the concept of interest-free transactions. We already
Okay.
have, as you know, that we already have a pay later scheme in
Hmm.
various e-commerce sites where
Right.
people are availing the benefits of pay later. With they have multiple schemes attached. Within the scheme, they have various options, like people
Hmm.
can either pay after 30 days without any additional interest, or they can pay in certain EMIs with certain interest. So what caught my mind is that these big e-commerce websites, they
Hmm.
are like killing the local market, the local kirana shops and other also small and medium business retailers.
Hmm.
One because of their predatory pricing. Second, because of their reach, they have deep penetration throughout, so they can play with the margins. They can give on lesser
Yeah.
margin because their volume is more.
Hmm.
And third, they've also introduced this pay later option to make the whole thing more lucrative. So I thought of introducing the same with the local market. We have many. I think Bharat Pay also does this, but they do it with the small and medium enterprises. They give loan to the SMEs through the process of KYC. They get the KYC done and they sanction loan for the SMEs, but not to the customers. So the idea here is this is one of the things in the fintech. There are other things also, but this is one of the most important things that we are trying to enable the local retailers. They'll have our app on them, and the customer can easily do a KYC, on spot KYC, and according to his credit history, we can sanction a loan for him to make purchase at that store.
Right.
So this is one thing.
Okay.
And uh, other than that, there are two things which is more which is a narrower niche. It is the other two things target those people who are interested in
Hmm.
complete interest-free transactions. As you might be knowing, one of the things with Muslim community is that they do not want to deal in interest.
Right. Yeah.
So because of
It's
that, yeah,
it is.
there is a religious
Yeah. It's against
quality.
the faith. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so usury is a big no-no for them.
Right.
But it also has various side effects, this issue with them. Because of this, they do not want to keep their money in the bank, or even if they keep the money in the coming from the same community, I can relate, and the people out there would relate, that even if they keep there, there's a issue that they cannot use the money which is lying dead, their interest money. And I saw a gap here, that there are various charitable organizations or people who are into education, health, and NGOs and other organizations which are doing social service. So they have a money crunch, they need money, and there's dead money lying here in the banks and various institutions for this community
Right.
especially. And
Right.
there might be also other communities who do not deal in usury. So our app will give them an option to, it'll give a notification every quarterly when the interest in the bank is credited. After
Hmm.
the KYC process, they'll get a notification that so much money is accrued in your bank account, and you can directly dispose that money or donate that money to a charity or NGO of your choice.
Well, it's a good thought, but uh,
Uh,
it
I'm
would
sorry,
still
I'm
be
interrupting you.
against.
I'm
Yeah.
interrupting you. I'll just complete in 2 seconds. Then it's
Yeah. Yeah.
all yours. The third part is that we the whole government is has this vision of financial inclusion. One of the main part of financial inclusion is not just having a bank account, but rather uh, actively involving in investments in various products which are out there, like mutual funds, like stocks, like say digital gold or other things. So one of the part is that you sensitize people, you impart knowledge regarding these products, and the other is that you provide customized products for their needs. For example, the community which I belong to, which I come from, for them, as I said, usury is a big issue. So obviously for
Mhm.
them dealing in stocks, when I go to a Google search and I try to find stocks or shares there are which are compliant with Sharia norms or interest free, in easier terms should I say, it's a long process. First of all, I won't find all the products in one place. I named a few like digital gold and stocks and mutual funds. First of all, I won't find it in one place, and secondly, I'll have to do a long research to find out a single mutual fund. It's very clear there are only few, like Tata Ethical Fund, and I think there's one Nifty Bees. If I'm not sure about it, the second one. So the idea here is that if we can make this a single platform platform which provides a single click investment mechanism for all the Sharia compliant products. So you don't have to do all the research, you skip that part, that all that is done for you. Then it also imparts knowledge regarding what the products are and how they work and how you will benefit, how it is interest free. And we want to do this all on a freemium model. So we only charge people for the transactions they make. Other than that, everything is free. Your onboarding is free for the demat account, and the knowledge which you want, if there's a if you want to take knowledge from the app, the knowledge part is also free to a certain extent. Then if you want to
Mhm.
have the premium section of it, then you pay as per your requirement. So this
Right.
entire model is based on these three things. Please go ahead, it's all yours.
Well, I think I've heard of such products which are already there in Islamic countries. So maybe, I don't know, have you looked up any? Have you
Yes, I did.
evaluated? Yeah.
I did, but
So,
not in depth. Islamically is one of the apps which is doing this,
right.
but our USP is that we are doing everything for free. That's one part of it. Second part is that the interest disposal mechanism which we are providing with the app, that is also free. Let me tell you.
So why do
So
you want to do it free?
I want to do it for free. Um, because this we have various other means to generate revenue. So I think doing charity should not be something which we charge for, but yes, we can charge the beneficiary. For example, the NGOs who want to list up in our app, they can pay a certain onboarding fees, but not the user who is disposing or donating the money.
Yeah, fair. But uh, yeah, when I was trying to interrupt you earlier, is that see, if, isn't it that even donating is? I mean, first of all, you can't even accept the interest. So donating means you accept it, right?
No, there's a actually, if you go deeper in it, the idea is you can dispose that money to the poorest of the poor. So people who are in need of medical aid, or are come from the poorest of the poor, the money can be used for them, not for yourself.
Okay, I mean, if you improvise on it, uh, uh, it would be a sense of adopting to the norms because I rather keep the money. But have you explored crypto? In fact, this is one of the reasons why Indonesia is and even Nigeria have gone big on crypto.
No, sir, I haven't. But if you guide me, I surely would.
Uh, Indonesia has gone very aggressive. Even Nigeria has gone quite big. Also unfortunate that also a lot of scams come from these two countries. But irrespective of that, uh, uh, crypto investments have taken off in a big way because there is no specific interest concept. There is a concept of staking, right? Some people
Yes.
attribute staking to similar to interest, but it is not really that. So, so
Right.
it uh, even at a conceptual level, it is different. So it should not conflict with the
No,
traditional
I
thinking.
completely agree with you. What you're uh, sorry, I'm interrupting again, but I completely agree with you. But there are two things here. One is trying something new, introducing something new. Crypto can surely be a thing of the future. I completely agree with you. But we have a problem at hand. We have almost, even if you take small example of India, we have 20-25 crore population. If we only target the Muslim community, if we engage others, because obviously if I provide you loan irrespective of your religion or community which you belong to pay at your local store without any interest for a month, so you would happily take that offer irrespective of whatever your belief system is. So that is one part, but the other parts which deal with specifically with usury free transactions or usury free model. So even if you take a small example of India, in India we have 20-25 crore population, and obviously most of us have a bank account. We have some sort of amount there, so there's a lot of dead money lying there which can be used. My aim for this, actually, this entering um, this incubator program was actually came from this background. It was not initially aimed to develop a revenue generating business, but it was aimed to provide, to fill this gap, because as I told you, I've already been in education sector, and I've seen the challenges there, how running institutions, especially if you're doing for the marginalized people or people from poorer communities, you face challenges with fundraising. So I saw an opportunity there, a dead lying money in, it could be millions, if I'm not exaggerating. So millions of rupees are lying there, and there's an opportunity. And people, the good part is that I have engaged with people, I've done one-on-one survey with people, and I've seen that most of the people would like to do that. What I've personally felt, and I also got feedback from others, that many a times what happens is that we, while using our debit or credit cards or money from our banks, we are not proactive in looking at how much interest is accrued so that I dispose it. But if there is a mechanism which notifies them and gives them a one click option, it is very much possible that we can tap on a lot of money, dead money lying, for greater good of humanity. So that is the whole
No, I
idea.
think it's a good idea, but even India has had. I think there are many banks which operate in this context as Islamic Bank with a uh, differentiator in terms of how they recognize interest for their investments and all. In fact, Bangalore had a bank called Alaming Bank. Uh, it was super popular.
I know them.
Yeah, and
It got
unfortunately
closed.
got into a big scam. So, so yeah, so that's the unfortunate part. But I think similar efforts are there. I think Assam has, West Bengal has. I think there is a cooperative bank in Bihar also, which does that, in UP also. So there are quite a few banks like that. So, but I think those who have gone into traditional banks and who strictly follow and they don't touch the interest, I think it's a good option to for you to tap into. But you could still consider tokenization. Perhaps you didn't have time to look at that video what was shared yesterday. I think
No.
Pratham, you shared it in WhatsApp or mail with them. I don't know.
It's like we upload it in a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Oh, but that was a link I had shared. So, or you
One
could
second.
upload it again, is it? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So, uh, So just look up that. I talk about tokenization there. In fact, that is one of the things you could actually employ it in this context as well. And uh, so even when you talk about particularly different stakeholders, smaller shops, uh, see, it's not that this idea is not employed. In fact, much of the what banking is that? The current acting president of Bangladesh. What is his bank? Grameen
Yunus,
Bank's
Yunus, yeah,
Yunus,
Grameen.
his
Yes.
Grameen Bank. What was it? Microfinance, right? See, microfinance is very rampant in India across. Uh, it's huge. It's huge. It's huge across India. It's huge in rural area. In fact, one microfinance CEO that I was talking to, their disbursement in only rural Bangalore is huge. So, in fact, this guy, one of the Bansals of Flipkart, he actually bought a few microfinance companies and he's put them together to a financial institution. So this is actually done, and where this is
My question here is,
yeah.
that whatever research I have done, I've seen that there are many non-banking financial institutions who are
Hmm,
lending to retailers, or who are lending to small and medium enterprises. But the problem
hmm,
statement here is that, being a shopkeeper, for example, I come from a retailer background. My father has a garment shop in Andamans.
hmm,
So
hmm.
coming from a retailer background, I see the problem statement that even if the person is genuine, the customer is genuine, and we want to give him some kind of loan, or if we want to give him a pay later option, we cannot, because we do not have the mechanism to verify his credentials, his credit history at all, right? So
See, that's what I was trying to come to. A lot of these things can't be approached in a traditional banking way in terms of credit history. Most of these payouts don't work on a credit history model, they work on social proof. So, the reason I was talking about them is that try to employ those models into it. See, credit
okay.
history actually goes up if you borrow money. You know how the mechanics work?
Yes, yes, sir.
So,
I
if
know a little
see
bit.
the credit,
Please shed.
yeah, so credit rating goes up if you borrow money and keep servicing. If you don't borrow any money, you will actually have a very low credit rating.
Right.
So, so credit rating is not the right mechanism in this context. So that is why I was talking about that model. So you look at it, you can actually work more on stitching up the social proof. Social proof is the model which gives extends the confidence on the person. In fact, it also binds the person to honor the commitment. So
Okay.
if you are stitching it, that is the way. So you need to figure out how do you stitch the social proof aspects of it. And also the challenge would be how do you do it without hurting, making them feel bad, right? Social proof would mean that you're giving something to me in front of somebody else, the proof socially, right? So
But
in
this should
we
also be
are
very quick and smooth, right? Like
no,
when
no,
we
you
do
see
an
from an
online
app point
transaction.
of view, you can do that, but that is where how do you stitch the element of social proof? So that is another thing where tokenization can have that root. You can actually use that to stitch that up, and you can actually create a token economy to facilitate it.
Okay.
And token does not give interest, but token's value appreciates as the network increases, transaction increases.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
actually are creating uh, generating and creating a increased value for every stakeholder. So in the process, it's like this, right? Uh, I think I don't know which country in Europe. This was a thing. I think one of the senior industrialist, businessman, entrepreneur in India who talked about it. That he visited their country and he went to a restaurant, and the restaurant had a board where people could pay for like you have a meal, you bought a burger, you pay for a burger 100 rupees, and you pay for two basically, and you take the second burger coupon and put it up there. So whoever comes, if they want to use that token, just go across, say that, okay, I want a burger. So they don't have money to pay.
Right.
They don't have to ask anybody. Somebody has paid. The person need not know who will use it, and person who gets it also need not know who has paid for it. So it is
Right.
some sense of uh, uh,
I've
say
seen
for
this.
you,
Yes.
yeah. So there are quite a few such things happen in Bangalore. Also, people keep refrigerators. They keep many a times people end up keeping stale food, spoiled food, and all that. That is the unfortunate part. But most places where they keep this, they keep food, and there are regular people who come regularly take it from there. And then there are people who run kind of a, every day you get so many food is distributed and things like that. So you actually can stitch thing where people don't get upset about it. They don't feel insulted about it, and you can do that. So if you're doing that social proof part of it, but it takes little bit of uh, carefulness, but you can do it. And tokenization is another thing you can employ. I think it's a great opportunity, particularly in these kind of things. And also, what could
Right.
be the I mean, what could be the loss in terms of their interest rate, right? What they lose. Technically, that is what you earn. Money has to earn. That's the concept of money. So if you are leaving
Right.
that money and letting go that, you losing that value. Through tokenization, you can actually generate value through various other things. So that is something that could be uh, employed. In fact, right now I'm consulting for a technically it's a not-for-profit initiative of one of the spiritual gurus, right? They are not
Okay.
identified among the religious thing. They say it's all faith spiritual guru, and they have free hospitals. So they run free
Okay.
hospitals, and so basically, you go without money, whatever treatment you get it. But they do have a format of evaluating what you do and all that. And if you can pay, they charge you what you can pay. If you can't, if you declare that I can't pay anything, they give you the treatment. If you can declare that I can pay, then they charge you that. So basically, it works on a trust model. Whatever the patient says, they believe. They are not supposed to question whether the patient is lying.
Right.
They are withholding the money, but that's the model they work. So now they are looking at creating a larger project. They are looking at raising 400 crores. So, so we are discussing on how tokenization can be employed to raise 400 crores. So
Well,
you actually
what do you
can,
think? Sorry, but my question here is, what do you think about stitching it all together in a format where certain products or services are free and certain things we charge? For example, for the investment products which we have, we charge them for the transactions that happen there. We do not charge for onboarding. For example, if somebody wants to open a demat account, but say they make a transaction, we charge them
yeah,
a certain platform fee. So there are many other ways. If I
see,
don't have right now.
that is, see, charging per transaction is the Visa model as it's popularly called, right? Visa, banks, everybody charges per transaction.
Yes.
So in fact, this is one company I run, Nija. So we have a,
Okay.
wallet. We call it Nija Wallet. So this wallet, basically, we are going to market with Nija Wallet as a security wrapper for existing wallets, right? So the first one, what is ready to go to market, is for MetaMask. MetaMask is one of the popular
Right.
crypto wallets. And what we consciously decided was that we will not charge people per transaction. We didn't want to do
Right.
that. We wanted to very clearly, I think, we decided that we will charge a fixed fee per month, irrespective of the
Subscription
number of
model.
transaction. A subscription model, irrespective of what you use, uh, because we thought it is only fair that I'm just putting my laptop for charge. So yeah, so we consciously decided that per transaction model is uh, uh, it's not fair, and it's only fair that we charge a fixed fee. So uh,
Can't we make a
so
hybrid? Can't we make a hybrid that so that we can have a paper paper use model, or say transaction model, and along with that we can have a reduced charge on a subscription model, so those who want to use it continuously can have go for a subscription model.
these things are already employed. In fact, most people actually do it on transactions. See, they the charge is higher. See, I look at it this way. For me, from a consumer, I want to charge a fixed rate. Whether you do $100 million transaction or you do $10 transaction in a month, right? So I want
Okay.
to charge fixed rate for you. But if you are an enterprise, then there is a larger commitment for you from being the way you deal with your customers. So I would charge uh, for enterprise. I will keep a much bigger fee, because enterprise will be working with me because they want that higher security. So I look at see, for me it is important that I have more users securing. So it comes down to it's probably easy if you do a low subscription fee, and if it goes with more number of people.
Volume.
And volume, yeah. And volume from a point of secure, acquiring customers, but at the same time, the customer doesn't feel that they are overpaying for every transaction if I have to pay, right? Like right now, every transaction is paid for, right? You pay, pretty much everybody does that. There's a percentage that is charged. So,
Right.
and every time there is a payout, then there is a tax also. See,
Right.
we have fairly high indirect taxes. There is GST on pretty much everything.
Yes.
So I think it is best that we have a low fee and we work towards creating a larger volume and charge the enterprise. So that is our decision. So if you ask me, I would actually recommend that you try to uh, bracket based on the size and capacity, if it is a user or if it is a small business, big business. And then if you're charging a higher fee, like I said, enterprise, we have to have higher value to it. Because see, I've not launched for enterprise yet. We have not even worked, because we are looking at having a certification from a rating agency for crypto. It's called CCSS, security standards that we need to align to, and that's going to cost nearly $40,000 for me. So if I have to go to enterprise, I need to have those things. So for me, the cost is
Right.
better justified if I have all those things. So I will be charging a premium to the enterprise, and enterprise will possibly pay because we meet all those standards. So it becomes easy for them to extend it to their customers, saying we are partnering with this who is CCSS certified, things like that. So, so
Right.
if you are charging high, then you need to have your story right to justify why you charge
Right.
high, which has to add value for them to tell their customers. So that is why it is expensive.
Right.
But I think what you're doing is very smart. Uh, uh, and it's a good business also. And also, if you're making it available to beyond the Muslim community, I think uh, it can open up. Perhaps you will possibly be a candidate for next Padma Shri Award. So, and from a
Sir,
recognition point,
I just
no,
want
but it's
to.
a good thing.
I
See,
just
I'm not putting it in
no. I
a,
understand,
uh
sir. I
bad
completely
way. I think it's
appreciate
a
your
good
point,
thing
but
that,
if,
yeah.
yes, probably if we can do something which can have a positive impact on humanity, and long after we are gone, we both somebody can have a discussion that Shahid met his sir on this platform, and they both led to this great product. It would be the best thing we can achieve in our lifetime.
Well, I don't know. I have very little to contribute. It's your idea. You're doing it, Shahid.
No,
But
but we
however I
can.
can
But
help
one of
from
the
my
things I
perspective.
actually wanted, one of the things which I wanted help with, and I'll be very blunt with it. I'm sorry. But being, even though I'm from a tech background, I always had an inclination towards entrepreneurship and marketing. And because coming from a family background of businessmen, you can say traders or retailers, and always had this bent of mind. So right now I'm looking for a tech founder, and maybe you can help me connect with some good people, great people.
Well, in fact, a lot of people come to Bangalore because of that. So I encourage you to come to Bangalore. See, whatever people complain about Bangalore, infrastructure, roads, potholes, footpaths, uh, corruption, whatever it is, I think it's got the best ecosystem for any business to start in India.
Agreed. Probably
So
I would be coming in a month or two to Bangalore for raising funds for my school. So maybe I can meet you at that time.
sure thing. In fact, sometime around 2018, I was looking at some numbers in the how many startup fund pitching for funding happens in Bangalore, and
Right.
I think in 1 year, Bangalore had about 260 pitching sessions,
Mm-hmm.
right? More than 200 pitching sessions, right? For grant to whatever equity funding and angel, whatever rounds, all together. And the rest of India put together was not even half of it. So, so, so one Bangalore can give you a great opportunity in that sense in terms of thing. But at the same time, see, I've been in the startup ecosystem for more than 10, 12 years now. I've been running it. I used to run some startup programs in IIM Bangalore also. So we used to have startups coming from different
Right.
parts of India to come and pitch. Uh, One thing I noticed is that, and somewhere I've also been guilty to it, uh, that any pitch that comes across, I mean, I've stopped doing it now. I don't go to most of the startup pitching sessions. I just stay away. My startup involvement is very few like this. So,
We
one
sound very
thing,
boring now. I guess
sorry?
the pictures. I mean, we now have become. I think we sound more boring now for you.
No, no. See, what happens is that uh, anybody's pitch, any kind of pitch, I've not seen something new coming out of it because sometimes it so happens that you've always seen something, one or at least one, two. So if somebody
Right.
says that we are unique, and sometimes my face itself shows, okay, tell me about it, because I can tell you when somebody pitched something
Seen
similar
all.
5 years ago types. So it's a very unfortunate thing, right? If you are in Bangalore, you become so bad sometimes that sometimes my criticism. That's why I think I told in yesterday our past session that whatever I say, evaluate it on your own things because I mean, of course, I'm borrowing the
The
18th chapter,
scrutiny
right? I
level
was
is
telling
more
you.
in Bangalore, I guess, because you guys are every day you're seeing one or the other pitches, so it becomes quite a routine
No,
affair.
see, that is true. But what I'm trying to get at is that, see, sometimes starting in Bangalore for startups, it becomes a lot more complex. See, I was talking to one investor in Singapore some couple of years ago. This was a conversation where we are having that he was working in Bangalore for some time. He moved to Singapore and then he became part of a VC fund. And then the region he was investing in was mostly Southeast Asia. And he was telling me that you got to come to see Indonesia, a lot of work is happening and all that, but you see the kind of startups, the kind of money they are raising. If you come from Bangalore, you will think it's a joke. This is exactly what he told me. He said, if you come and see, you think it's a joke because the kind of people, the profile they come with, and the ideas that we put money on, you think, why are we putting so much of money or why are we wasting our money? This is
Right.
the quality of startup founders in Bangalore is way superior. But then
Right.
you think about it, why is it that they fail to attract money? The competition is so intense here,
Still, yes.
right? Because every second startup you meet is way better. But the advantage of being in Andaman sometimes, right? This is what I tell a lot of people, that if you come from some other small town, don't think it's a disadvantage. Start there itself. Sometimes you actually start with a lot of freshness and without feeling so overburdened that, oh shucks, what I'm doing is not big enough or good enough.
Right,
Because
right.
sometimes it can hit you very strongly here. You come, you meet, you talk to somebody, he says he was working for Google. Forget all the big names. He will still say that he was a part of two other startups who raised X million dollars of money in the past. So you'll feel, oh, okay. So
He's like a
the
nobody.
moment he says that, whatever he's done itself is big, so I can't do that. So a lot of times people can feel this. So that's why I
Right.
actually encourage people, come to Bangalore, get a feel. One thing what you will get is that the kind of confidence. If you can figure out a way to engage people here, do that, but run your business out of your own place,
Right.
because you will still be confident in your own place. It's your water, right? You know where you will drown, where you will have fun.
Right.
Here
Right.
it's unknown waters, and it's. I think this is what actually fits. A lot of times, I think. In fact, there's a friend of mine who kept chasing me to move to US for a long time. I always insisted I will stay in Bangalore and build my billion-dollar company. So that guy was telling me, you come to US and you don't know what you're doing. I meet so many startups here, so many founders here. They just don't have half your what you can do. You got to be there. Sometimes maybe it's the biggest mistake I did, but
Mm.
see, sometimes place has all the advantages, and place also has a lot of disadvantage. So today, you know, having spent so much time to get my head still with hair but gray, I think
Mm.
probably come, see, connect.
No, yes, I agree. The connect matters a lot because being in the ecosystem where everything is pushing you towards your goal helps a lot. But also, there's a downside, as you said, that we tend to take the top down approach rather than the bottom up approach. Being in small towns give you an advantage where you're looking at problems around you, and then you're raising the issue from there and building your product from there. So yes,
Yeah,
completely agree with you, sir.
see, I was actually talking about it in one event. If that Oyo guy was to come and start in Bangalore, probably he would have, I mean, we would have not been talking about Oyo today. See, because before Oyo started, I had seen such ideas getting started here a lot more. It's very, very
Right.
difficult. Of course, as much as government of India is today saying there is things have changed, there is access to money, which is true. To a great extent, it is true. Ecosystem has changed significantly. See, when I
Yes,
first became
yes.
an entrepreneur, we used to call it business. There was no reference to startup. Nobody puts money. There's no investor. So you just have to see how do you generate your money? How do you pay for it?
Internet penetration has also changed the dynamics a lot, especially for rural areas.
Correct. See, uh, things have changed, and a lot of times, see, I've been part of IIM Bangalore is partner to Government of India's initiative called um,
How can
uh,
we get into
how can you
that's
get
the
into?
first question, that program, accelerator incubation.
Oh no, you want to get into IIMB? NSR cell is there. Just go to nsrcel.org. But you're with NASCOM, so I don't know why do you want to look at NSRCEL?
No,
NASCOM
I
is doing
thought
a
you
good
had
job.
thought something would be good about the program.
Uh, no, no. This program I'm referring to is something which is done with Government of India for engineering colleges. So the context of my referring to it is that see, it is called India Innovation Design Challenge, something like that. I don't know. Any of you have done engineering? You would have got an invite from AICT.
Right.
So, so what I've seen is that at one time, highest applications were 1,800. Lowest was about 800 participation. See, as a from IMB, I was part of the uh, uh, screening and jury committee at different points of time.
Right.
See, you get applications from IITs to tier one colleges in all the cities to engineering colleges from I don't even know the place where they are. Like I've actually
Right.
took the name Google to find out which place they are in India, right? But the best part is that it's not the idea, right? I mean, I've not
Right.
seen great ideas come from small remote colleges. I've seen extremely challenging ideas come from IIT or tier one colleges. See, one other thing I've seen is that the winners were never the IITs or these guys. I mean, typically the top 10 would be picked, or one or two would be these tier one colleges.
Right.
Eight of them would be others. And you know what was the difference? Most of them coming from smaller towns would take what otherwise a tier one college would think it's a very ordinary idea. But most important thing is they would actually approach it very differently from an execution standpoint. So that was very different, right? Versus the ideas that were pitched from IITs or other ones. This was something you could actually compare with anywhere else in the world, right? Very global
Very
because the
true.
level of exposure was very high. But
You look
problem
at
was,
all the past ideas. Sorry,
yeah,
yeah, please continue.
the challenge is that approaching to execute it. Many a times people are not able to even comprehend, or people think, okay, it's too far, not ready for India. So they used to get shot down. And at the
Right.
same time, rural had a different challenge. These guys were not able to present in English. They would have bad
Right.
English, and most times I would have had to fight with my other jury members, saying that, listen, don't go by what he says, go by
Right.
how he wants to approach it.
Content.
Content, yeah,
But sir,
but
if we
yeah,
look at the past, past startups which are successful in India, if you take big companies here, for example, if you take Ola or you take Flipkart, most of them, if I'm not wrong, and I'm not judging them, but they have succeeded just because of the execution part, rather than the idea. Idea was not novel. It was just a copy paste from,
correct,
so
correct.
so the problem statement was if strong. Human problems are same more or less everywhere. So it's how you take the problem, you approach it, and then you execute it. And
No,
execution part, I think,
I'll put two other things to the reason they succeeded, right? See, one is if you look at it, fortunately or unfortunately, the founders came from IITs. And
exactly
two,
that was my
these were not product businesses. See, unfortunately, a lot of these success can be attributed to the VC community or investor community in India. See, many of these investors had a overhanging thinking that India can't build product. India has to have a service business only. So they actually put
right.
a lot of money on these businesses. And second thing is they had a bias that they think these guys are from IIT and only such. So see,
Exactly.
somewhere these bias actually favored these guys. Otherwise, believe
Right.
me, I've seen great ideas, great people, highly competent. They were not able to attract money likewise because our investor community thought India is not for products. These guys
Right.
are not IITs. So these labels, these things actually killed, and they
These
worked
things,
for
these things,
advantage of these guys.
right. So that was my point, sir. These things also, many of the people here in this cohort, they come from tier one or tier two cities, and they have this thing at the back of their mind that we do not have the tag, even though if we have the idea, it would be difficult for us to realize it because of these drawbacks, which has been kind of acquired tendencies built in the startup ecosystem.
Uh, Unfortunately, it is true, and I think it will remain like that for at least another 10 years. So given that, my recommendation to all you guys is that you actually can do some programs even remotely with IITs and IIMs, which can give qualify you to be an alumni.
Right.
So look up those programs. I've actually referred a couple of guys to do such programs in IMB, and believe me when I say this, one of the guys is not a graduate. He actually had dropped out. Okay, he dropped out of an engineering college. He tried doing something, he failed, and all that. And much later, he was running his venture. I recommended him. He did that. So today, he is an IMB alumni. So there are programs you actually can qualify even without a graduation and can complete it. Obviously, you have to work and complete it. He's a smart guy. He runs another software company. Uh, you need to know your business and you need to be able to give them confidence, and you actually can get, and you get an alumni status as well. So and it
Right.
helps because it gives you that connect, it gives you that
Correct.
access. So you actually can tap into that you can try to use that label if you like to flash one, but
That's one
you do
thing
get
which I'm
access to
taking.
it.
That's one thing which I'm taking from this session.
Sure.
So, sir, I would surely like to share the entire, business model canvas and also the lean canvas with you, so that whenever you have time, you can review it, because we have just had a overview of it, but in the model itself, I've discussed all the revenue generation methods, customer segments, and other things. And I also wanted to mention that, we have taken a very small sample and a very organic pattern of doing things, rather than, just making it out in our head. We went to the field, we talked to people, and we saw that there are real problems there. But yes, there we might be exaggerating. A feedback is required, a true feedback for that matter. But also, I think if this can be successfully built, this can be something which can be taken to a global level, because the community itself is on a global level, and this
Correct.
issue is with the entire. So it could be something huge and great benefit. So please
Correct.
let me know how to connect with you on mail or WhatsApp, whatever you feel easy with, comfortable with.
I had shared both my email ID and WhatsApp, right?
Mm, I don't think your WhatsApp was shared with us, but if
No,
that
I
could be
shared
done,
my
if
number. Yesterday
Yeah,
also it was
actually,
shared, right?
yeah, it's in
yesterday
the
I was
chat. Like,
I was
uh,
very
Oh, yeah.
sorry. Yesterday I was there for a very small, for a very little while. I was in the session, so I couldn't
Okay.
see your number. If you,
I,
yeah,
I
that's
just shared. So,
thank you.
not a problem. I think, I think it's a good idea, and probably you can use a product like that to, because right now there is a
You
globally, right,
also
across Europe,
I
US,
also
India,
added
there
a
is.
dimension, another
Sorry?
dimension which I another dimension or another vertical which I got from, one of the feedbacks which I got from you right now, and I'm noting it down, is we can add another feature of crypto into it. So I would surely like to read more about it and learn how it is working. If you can share some links on WhatsApp, I'll surely ping you my number. I'll surely send you a message on WhatsApp. If you can send something which can, I can go through it and learn about it and see through it how it works and how the
See,
community is
that
taking.
link I shared on tokenization, I think why I generally like to share that is that it has come out in a very question and answer way. The guy from BCIC, he runs a fund, Sudeep. So he was asking questions and I was responding, and sometimes there were questions based on my response. So it gives you a very structured
Correct.
interaction, so you actually can take better out of it. That's why usually I share that. And if you go through it, and after that, if you come with your question, in fact, I was hoping that some of you would have gone through that and you would want to discuss that today. That was the idea of yesterday sharing that.
I'm sorry, I was on field survey actually.
No, 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 that's
So
okay. I mean, yeah, yeah, I think that's the one. What's that? Oh, that's the link. Yeah, that's a link would have shared. So,
great.
so you could look at it. So do go through it and come back, because I think it goes into everything, starting from how do you uh, design an organization to how do you manage it. That was a context I spoke about yesterday in the Infosys context. To how do you build a product or take the go to market with a service. So you at each stage it can, and it can work even today. One other meeting I was having, it is technically a not-for-profit organization. It is a minority organization who runs some educational business. So there was a gentleman who was in the meeting. He was talking that he is working with them for last 34 years. And
Wow.
if you, I mean, obviously he's been paid salary, but he's literally built the institution. But if he quits that institution, it's just like any other private job. There is no value takeaway for him, except that
Right.
he served here. So that is where the other gentleman was telling him that, and he actually turned to me and said, "Can we do tokenization here?" And it is actually doable.
Okay.
So see, whatever we start, this minority majority institutions and whatever fixations, but I think at a fundamental level, it's always good to create value and also a sustained value,
Right.
because if you have contributed to building that organization for 34 years, it is sad that if you are going out and you don't take anything, right? So,
Right.
which is the case with most people, right? And today, unfortunately, even
Like
if you work in Infosys, it's the same thing.
and you get nothing.
Sorry?
It's like you give your all. It's like a one-sided
Yeah,
love affair
you've
where
given the
you give
prime of
your
your
all and
life
you
to
get.
doing it, and
Right.
today expectation is, yeah, you've been paid salary for it. So what more? See, I think that's a old school thinking. I think in
Okay.
a tokenized distributed economy world, I think world is also going to change. I think world will also become far more distributed. It will not be any longer sustained with IPs. So one more thing, uh, Pratham, are you there? Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah.
Pratham, there is a second book I'm writing, and I'm doing a survey for it. Can I share
Okay.
the survey form? Can you ask not just this cohort, anybody to fill it up? I think that will help me
Sure, sure,
to
sure,
get a
sure. I will send it
perspective.
to all the WhatsApp groups. We have a
Request
huge
for an
community.
advance
I will
copy.
send it to that community.
Yeah, that will be great. Thanks. Sorry,
Yes,
somebody.
yes.
I'm saying, sir, we already have a request for an advanced copy of your book. From my side, there's a request for an advanced copy
Oh,
of your.
okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks. I'll need you to fill up the form, but uh, uh, you're a tech guy anyway, so. Uh, but I've also written something for the people who are not initiated to AI, more of a handbook with a study. And if it interests anybody, I've mapped about 20 industries, which has about nearly 80% of jobs that will be displaced in the next 10 years. So,
Okay.
so you could look at it. And also, uh, I do refer to startups can use that as a business idea, but it's a short-term idea. I think some of those ideas can be good to do it perhaps for next 10 years, because that will also be lost, but there is immediate money to be made in the course of next 10 years. So I think that's another thing all of you have to seriously take into consideration. The world is changing a lot more faster than we like to believe. So other day I was having a conversation with another friend. He's a surgeon. He's a senior gentleman. He also works with Government of India's research center. So we were having a kind of an argument because he was disagreeing with me. I was trying to tell him that in 15 years, people like him will not exist or will not be relevant as a surgeon,
As
right?
a
But
surgeon,
maybe as a surgeon. See,
that's a very strong statement.
yeah, it sounds funny too, but see, I want you to understand that back in 2020, I don't know how many of you are keeping track of artificial intelligence, but uh, like I used to talk in forums, public forums, we used to talk about it, that AI is good enough to replace any monotonous or repetitive job,
Right.
right? In the future, we used to talk about it in the future 4 years ago. So in
Right.
2020, we used to say that in future, AI will replace a repetitive job. But today, as of today in 2024, AI is not replacing just repetitive jobs. AI is replacing creative jobs.
Creative.
Yeah. So it's advanced far more than many people actually thought it will get to. And believe me, it is going in a direction which is going to be far, far superior. See, there are already, I don't know how many of you have seen the videos of this uh, robotic surgery. Any of you have seen? You can just Google on YouTube, you can see robotic surgery videos. And people do it remotely, as in, like, let's say somebody sitting in Bangalore using those robotics can do a surgery in Andaman, provided that
Mm.
infrastructure is there, connectivity, blah, blah. But people are doing it. People are doing it between countries or thousands of miles away. And believe me, what these robots can do to such precision, it's very, very difficult even for human beings directly to be doing it. So in fact, they are started approaching in building in robotic surgery just so that it can be done with minimum invasive, as in not doing a big cut in a human body, do a small microscopic cut. So that's how the robotic technology evolved in the surgical space. But going forward, these machines are learning. Machines will start learning. So machines can do a far superior job than humans. So in the next 10, 15 years, machines will become, they will have thousands of or hundreds and thousands of data of surgeries. So you don't need a human wearing gears and doing it through an AR surgery. Machines will just do it. Only thing a human is required to say. In fact, machines will also do a better assessment of, okay, what is wrong with this human? What is wrong with this body? What needs to be fixed and how? So to start with, maybe government will make it necessary for a human to approve it. And eventually, we don't need that. So see, today surgeon is the most respected position. So we used to say only the low end of the jobs will get displaced. This is the most high end, right? Perhaps the brain surgeon is as good as a rocket engineer, but
Very few of
rocket
them are there. Yeah. Neurosurgeon.
there are few, but it is believed that the most brainiest of the people go into it, right? But
Yes, yes.
in 10, 15 years, a rocket engineer and brain surgeon both are the jobs what robots can do. So, so sorry, somebody saying something?
Sir, it's
Oh,
me,
Hari.
Ruman. Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, like I just remember the Great Depression of America.
yeah.
So, like, do we have, sir? We are doing so much, sir. There are so many, like, as you are speaking, the improvement, like, don't we also get replaced, sir? What is our scope, sir? Then studying, like, developing so much of products and all.
Uh, well, it's actually more a spiritual question than a a business question. Uh, s- See, it's the world we're talking about now is the future. It's not today. So you still have to live till that day. And that is the effort I'm trying to write also, that I'm trying to figure, because see, one is that uh, I was in other university other day talking about it, that see, India is one of the countries with highest public jobs in the world among the developed countries, right? Not necessarily developed countries, but at least among the top five
Developing
GDP countries, India is the highest in public jobs. Uh, uh, and of course, Russia has more public jobs. China is significantly less. So among the top five, India is the highest public jobs. But public jobs year on year is going down, and you don't have enough jobs. And it is an eventuality we all have to get ready with. And one thing is that biggest employer in India. Do you want to guess? Any of you want to guess who's the biggest employer? I mean, within the public sector.
Earlier it was Indian Railways.
No, Indian Railways is one of the top employers. For a long time, it has been Indian Armed Forces.
Armed
So
forces.
even now, it is the largest employer. India has second largest army, I think, foot soldiers. So
Mm,
see, think of it. Today, I'm not saying future technology. Today's technology, China can attack Indian energy, right? We have smart grids everywhere. I don't know about Andaman. You got to tell me, Shahid, whether Andaman also is
we have
smart grid. I was told
we have
that
a joint.
everything is smart grid. Everything is smart grid now.
Yeah.
So that's what I was told, that in
In
India, everything is smart grid. So see, smart grids are all connected. See,
Right.
China don't have to send their army to bring India down. They just have to put their best 100 hackers on the job of attacking Indian energy, and everything will collapse. Just think of it, no electricity, everything will collapse. See, wars are no more with these guns and men and border. They're all irrelevant anymore. I'm talking about today. So, so going forward, this thing is going to only get bigger. So we don't need this millions of army. It is not relevant. And government of India will also not think that just to keep the jobs, we will continue. The thought process will not get sustained for too long. They can delay it by few years. It cannot be few decades. Nobody will create dummy jobs because see, we have to be growing. We are in the fifth, we want to go to fourth. We are in fourth, we want to go to third. That race is always there. So you have to keep up. You cannot say that I will remain backward. I will promise I'll give people don't do any job. I'll keep giving feeding you. All those things people understand it is not sustainable. It will not work. So we have to be in the race. So we will get into it. I mean,
So
we
the
can
larger
disagree
challenge,
today, but
don't you think
yeah.
so the larger challenge for India for us would be equitable distribution of wealth rather than just growth? Because growth has, we have seen tremendous growth, but the per capita income has not increased that much
Well, uh,
compared to China, especially.
Shahid, just hear yourself what you're saying. Equitable. What does equitable mean?
Equitable
You get
means
what
you don't
you
just
deserve,
distribute
what you contribute to.
no,
No.
what
Equitable,
you need,
equity,
equitable
equity
means
is contribution based.
yes.
Equal distribution of wealth is a
That is one way of looking at it, but there's also
it's a
another way
foolish
which says
statement,
that
but equitable you are saying. So what you're saying is the right thing. You
okay,
get what you contribute to. So so there is no logic in saying that you get even if you don't contribute to, right? You're
so I
saying
agree with
equitable.
that, sir. I agree
So
with that, but
currently the
the
world is
challenge will be
equitable.
there because
See, currently the world is equitable. See, we came, see, just look at Indian scenario itself. 1947, India becomes independent, and India was bottom two in the list of countries' economic standing.
right.
Bottom two. In whatever 77 years, we are in top five. This is despite all the corruption, despite all whatever. India had, I think, 4 millionaires when India became independent. Today, I don't know, we have thousands of millionaires. We have billionaires itself, more than 100.
Right.
So, and if you look at it, who are those people? It's not, see, for that matter, when India got independence, Ambanis were lower middle class people. Today, the richest man in the world, or among the richest, is an Ambani who was in the lower middle class 70 years ago as a family. So, see, the world is for those who want to take it. You can
Right.
always sit and judge that what they did is right, what they did is wrong. You always have an option to judge, or you always have an option to do and make it.
So my point was, yeah, I completely agree with you. My point was that, a larger frustration will grow if there's not people down the spectrum are large in number. So it might lead to instability, which we have seen in many countries.
Uh, See, I don't think so. Uh, See, I don't think so. See, many countries which happened, there are a lot of books written. I've actually read quite a few books on it. There have been interventions which have led to it. See, think of it here. India before independence itself. Uh, India, there were 50,000 British, less than 50,000 Britishers, right? Britishers, soldiers,
Yes,
including their general to
very
the
few.
soldier, ruled India. And was it that majority of India was happy? Was majority of India was wealthy? No, they robbed us of everything. In fact,
Right.
the Sir Winston Churchill, who Indians also regard very highly, unfortunately, actually left 30 million people to die.
I
Right?
mean,
He is one
Bengal
of the
famine.
biggest mass murderers of all times in the history, who's celebrated, and we also refer to him with a lot of reverence. Uh, and people didn't protest. right? See, India didn't come out. Indians didn't go out and kill everybody, butcher everybody. No, it didn't happen. Even after being subjected to it, and they were such a small number. Of course, they got afraid. They left because there was Indian National Army. There was, they called it naval mutiny. So,
Yes.
so see, whatever happened, right? I mean, ideally, in Indian context, it should have been called the Indian Naval Forces Freedom Fight. But from a British perspective, they call it naval mutiny. Indian history books also refer to that as naval mutiny, like how, at least in when I was in school, we were taught uh, uh, 1857 mutiny. So unfortunate, right? It was not taught as a first war of independence. It was taught as mutiny. So we borrowed a lot of things, their narrative, we sustained it. We still didn't go. So why do you think today, with so much more opportunity, see, sitting in Andaman, you have consistent electricity, you have internet to connect to anywhere in the world with a bandwidth that you could actually do a video call. Why would you go for a mutiny? You actually have a say to pick who want you to be represented, right? Unlike in many other countries where they don't give you a choice. So I don't really think India will get to a point, because there are wealthy men, a few wealthy men. There are every day few wealthy men coming up. Every day there's a new millionaire happening. And the opportunities available for us despite all the challenges and limitations.
So I take from your entire, conversation that the growth story will, as you say, tokenism, it will engage more people, and all of or most of them will become a part of the story, the growth story. So this
See,
fear of being, one of the questions, I'm sorry, one of the questions actually we were talking about the question, the fear of becoming irrelevant in the future. It is not completely unfounded, but we have to evolve with that.
see, it is a question for all generations, and it's a question everywhere else in the world also, right? It's not that see, everybody who thinks has always had a challenge of how do I stay relevant. If you close your mind, if you say
Right.
that I don't see the change and this is the only truth, you never question about being relevant.
True,
So,
true.
see, this is a timeless thing, right? I mean, we've always had people coming, questioning, and that is why we still remember few, because it's always the few people. Like, see, why is it that not everybody's an entrepreneur, right? Not everybody thinks like that. So, it's a, see, the curious, those who dare to challenge the status quo, those who work, go after things beyond what is set as a rule, and those are the ones who make it.
Right.
So, and the rest, they don't make it, and I think most of them will not complain. It's okay. It's not for me, right? So, uh, no, but that's the way it is. But as a policymaker or as an entrepreneur, many a times we do have to take up those responsibilities, because, see, if you're building, you want a safer community around, right? You can't be driving a best of the car with your house surrounded by slum on all sides. You want a best of the
Right.
car to be on a best road. To have a best road, you need to have a surroundings also which fit into it. So we all have to work towards creating equitable, but at the same time we have to be conscious that equitable doesn't mean charitable. Equitable
Right.
is not distribution. Equitable is something one earns. But we need to create opportunity for everybody to contribute and earn respectfully for themselves.
Right.
And that is also a challenge, but we've always had challenges. So we will have more challenges. Perhaps we may have to compete, instead of competing with between us as a different belief system, we will have to compete with machines. And at that time, probably we will forget our belief systems and we all think, listen, it's a what group of blood? It's all the same group of blood. So let's align and let's fight the
That's
machine.
true.
Once we are safe, then we will get back to our fight of different faiths. So
Right.
I think our survival mode will kick in for us to come together. And So either the good or the bad, one of the things will force you to come together. So if the good drives you to come and act on it, you will get a Padma Shri. So,
Thanks for the motivation, sir.
no, I think what you're trying to do is really good. So go for it, and also try to use the whole community. I mean, it's good set of people, everybody here.
Right.
I don't know. Today's conversations went all over. So uh, I mean, if you want to delete this whole conversation, it's okay. So, except that girl
No,
will be
no.
unhappy. I told her watch the video. So
Yeah. Sir, one question from my side. What actually is a Nija? Nija means truth in Kannada. Like I am from Karnataka only. I
yeah.
just want to know what exactly is Nija.
Well, uh, uh, it's basically a like I said, right? I am a big proponent of tokenization, and I also uh, advocate distributed economy. So when blockchain technology evolved into the tokenization realm, I thought that's the right thing, and that is when about 3 years ago I started this company. So uh, see, one of the key features of blockchain is that uh, why blockchain is important and why supply chain and most other things, even on the governance side, people are adopting to blockchain is that uh, uh, it is referred to as immutability, right? Which is to say that once you put something out, you cannot manipulate it. So, so essentially, you can never hide the truth, right? Even if you
Yeah, yeah.
overwrite it, that also goes into the record, but truth remains. So in that
Yes.
context, I thought it's good to name it as Nija, which is
Nija.
the Kannada for truth. So
Yeah.
and also it is small, so easy for recall. But unfortunately, a lot of people call it Ninja. So, so
Yeah.
that's the
Yes. Interesting,
contradiction
sir.
part
Yeah.
of it. But
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, Nija. But yeah, only the people who know Kannada are connect. But honestly, Nija should be connected. Once I was speaking to another friend and explaining it, he is from North India, and then he said that no, it is there in Sanskrit also. I just didn't realize after you told me it is there in Hindi. I believe it is not a colloquial term. It is there. So
Mhm.
I think every Indian language should have that.
Yeah, yeah. So now I'm feeling proud that like people like you are using Kannada words.
Uh, One other business I do is Kannada.com. I was the first to
Yes, yes,
build a
nice,
Kannada.
nice.
Uh, uh, well, I was even proposing to do a Kannada keyboard. At that time, it got shot down by people in the administration side. So a lot of
Oh,
politics. So otherwise, we would have had a keyboard, not just in Kannada. First, you needed one language, and then today,
correct,
unfortunately, there
correct.
are. I mean, fortunately, we have many other language keyboards, but
Mm.
uh, at that time we were talking about building it at the core so that you could have actually the whole computation could have developed in Indian language. See, it is so important because see, we generally are communicating in English, but I don't know how much of India you have traveled. Less than 5% can actually communicate in English. So we are an absolute minority. We are the true minority, right? So,
Yeah,
no, see, it's such an unfortunate fact.
yeah, yeah.
So people who can think great in their own mother tongue are not able to act because one, they are made to feel low because they don't know English. So the low confidence is the biggest poison we can kill with, right?
Right.
So it's very unfortunate that we are not really approaching it in that way. And today, I don't know, in the AI space, it is possible to go back to it, but again, unless today it's a nth avatar of Kannada.com, we are trying to revive it to bring economic relevance to Kannada speaking. So unless any
Yes, yes.
language can bring about economic relevance, the language will die in another 100 years. This is a very interesting study done by MIT, not the Manipal Institute of Technology, the Massachusetts one.
Yeah, yeah.
And they actually say that there'll be only 3 languages in 100 years, and which is a possibility in the way things are evolving.
Mm.
Uh, so, we'll have to see. But yeah, India is not English, but though English determines India.
So what are
Yeah.
those 3 languages?
English, Mandarin, Chinese, and I think Spanish.
Okay.
Those are the 3 languages, if I remember correct. Uh, but yeah, uh, which is possible because see, much of South America is Spanish. Europe, in fact, most people know Spanish.
Yes.
And China, obviously, for the biggest population in China, and India's adoption to English, and all the Indian policymakers are happy to, of course. Uh, uh, Now, lately, there's a bigger push for Hindi. Whether world may
Mm.
like it or not, at least many of us in South India don't like it. I mean, so
Yes,
we
yes.
rather have English than Hindi. So,
Our
uh,
Hindi is too bad, actually.
Uh, well, honestly, how good is our English? But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, so if it comes to Hindi and Kannada, probably I'll fight for Kannada.
yeah, yeah.
Not probably, definitely. But again, if we have to look at between English and any Indian language, what do we have to look at? So, so that is where the complexity comes in. So, one side, the world is going towards singularity. Other side, maybe from a spiritual point, I like to believe in Advaita, which is again singular. But
Right.
when we talk about languages, we all become multiple. So multiplicity takes over, duality
Yeah.
takes over. So it's a uh, but I think it's good that AI is the greatest leveler, right?
Mm.
And and also, see, I run a podcast called Future Fast. So, if any of you are interested in the longevity space, please look up. I've had an opportunity to talk to two of the foremost scientists in the longevity space. I've also had two people who are transhumanists. You guys are familiar with transhumanists? Yes, no? Transhumans? Or
No, sir.
is it cut or is it
No,
time to
sir.
close? Okay.
Yeah, no. Actually, like in NASCOM,
No
we
idea
recently
about.
called these people for the month, Pride
So
month.
is it based
Oh,
on
no, 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 no,
altering the
please. No, no, no. Don't associate transhumanist with pride. Uh, that is the third gender what India has
Yeah,
recognized
yeah,
for.
yeah.
What do you call it?
it's altering the human cognition, if I'm not wrong.
No, no. Transhumanism, it's interesting. It's first, I got to know first in that The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil. Please read that book. It's amazing. I'm even trying to get Ray Kurzweil for my podcast. If it happens. But see, transhumanist is a concept where they believe, even integration of chips and other things. So we don't organically grow only as humans, right? Whatever enhancers, technology, device enhance our body to sustain and live for 1,000 years. That's the concept of transhumanist. The longevity people are different. Longevity guys, like I said, right, I've had opportunity to talk to two of the topmost scientists who have been researching on longevity for more than 30, 35 years. So one is Audrey and other one is Dr. William Bill. So amazing things. So just listen to them. They actually believe that people who are 60 today will live to 120, not with those gadgets like what transhumanists believe. In fact, transhumanists regard these scientists very highly, but these guys don't associate themselves with transhumanists, but they appreciate the thinking of living. So what they're talking about is living to 120 healthily. It's not that we just extend our life. It's about extending a healthy life. So there is some amazing work is happening. So if you guys like to think future, like to follow on these kind of things, then look up that podcast. So one side we are extending our life, healthy life, and other side we've also getting into technologies we can displace our jobs. So we are in very exciting times, and perhaps you guys have 30 more years than I have. So, or 20, 25 years. I don't know what is the
Hope so.
age you are. So,
Yeah.
so, so you will see a lot more technology, but right now we are at a peaking time. So, uh, so this is very exciting time. So, look around, amazing things are happening around the world. So, uh, so I mean, this is possibly the most exciting times in the human history, in the modern history, at least, because if we had Mahabharata, we had a nuclear war, we had flying planes, and people could be in one location and
Yeah.
physically reach another location. Maybe this generation will also get to that kind of a human capability. But for now, in this era, I think we are in the most exciting times of development. Uh, so please give half an hour every day to look out, sustain your curiosity to see what's happening, because it's just amazing things are happening. And
Yeah.
some of the things are also scariest things that are happening. But uh, just keep your eyes and ears open and put 20 minutes, 30 minutes in a day to it. I think that's the best investment you can do.
Yeah, surely, sir. We'll do that.
Right.
Sir, source.
Sorry, what sorts?
Source like through what? Through news article or through general you're saying? Like
Uh,
specifically to technology or specifically to the like a new emerging diseases.
okay. Uh, so one is follow my podcast, Future Fast. Uh, well, I'm not doing it on a daily basis, but I'm actually bringing people who are doing some amazing works from different things. Uh, and also it's good to understand different perspectives. Also, why China is different. I mean, that's another thing. Um, um, Maybe I think we are already short of time, but there are a lot of interesting people. Please look up and follow futurists. They are actively looking at how things are changing. So I've also had one futurist in the podcast. Look him up and follow him on LinkedIn also. He keeps sharing amazing things. I forget his name. He's an American guy. And Ray Kurzweil, I said, follow him and his work. Follow his videos also. I mean, every time you listen to him, great thoughts are coming from him. And that Israeli writer, what's his name? He's a very famous author. I don't agree with him on many things, but he talks very interesting things. So there are quite a few
Nas
people. So
daily.
sorry?
Nas daily.
No, 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 no. Nas Daily. I mean, Nas Daily is a nice, entertaining, sometimes learning. But this guy is Noal Harari, something. Noal Harari. I think he's got a new book. I have to check that. So that guy is amazing. Then there are a few guys in Europe. I mean, completely different thinking. In fact, among the living, he's one of the few people. I've actually one other book I'm writing. I've actually tried to take it. I mean, he's uh, German Swedish something. Guy is brilliant. He's identified as a one of the leading philosophers of present time. So you could look at him. So there are quite a few of these kind of guys. Maybe look at it as philosophers and scientists and whatever the interest subject you are interested in. Even on the AI side, I mean, even look at Sam Altman. He may have some bias thinking towards something, but independent of it, the kind of work and things he's working on is amazing. Even uh, this guy, Tesla guy, what's his name? Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. I mean, it's very wacky sometimes. I mean, his blatant support to Donald Trump, you may not like it, but sometimes he just challenges the traditional thinking in so many ways, right? I mean, his business is so relevant. I mean, he doesn't have to be appeasing US president. His rocket business is selling in nearly 70 countries. He can actually move out of America and still go become a trillionaire, right? I mean, uh, there are guys like this who are uh, so they sometimes they attack on fundamental thought process. So that is what I think. It's not about you agree or disagree. Even if you disagree, look at those people because it gives you a different perspective. So I think uh, there are so many different things. So sometimes you can get lost. Sometimes you can get towards conspiracy theories. So try to make some 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day follow up and keep mapping out these kind of people, their writings. Make time to do that reading. And mm, uh, uh, Gopal Krishnan, that former, I did a podcast with him and I also met with him. I also read his recent book. The guy is amazing. He's 70 years old. Guy is brilliant. He was a chairman for Hindustan Unilever. He was on the Tata Sons board, on the board of many Tata companies for nearly 20 years. Guy is brilliant.
Sir,
You got to
pardon, sir.
follow
What
him.
was his name?
R. Gopal Krishnan. R.
Argo.
Gopal Krishna. Yeah, is is just amazing. His latest book, I don't know whether I want to read it. It's about Jamshedji Tata, the founder of Tata Son. But his previous book, he's written a book on future. Just read it. I mean, you look at his videos, his clarity of thought and idea, phenomenal. 70-year-old guy. I've done a podcast with him 1 hour. Uh, just listen, brilliant. There's one more guy I've done a podcast with. His name is Bala Gopal. He's from Kerala. Any of you from Kerala here? I mean, we are a very small group. Nobody. Doesn't matter. So this Bala, uh, I mean, I'm happy to call him a friend because he actually likes to call me a friend. He's 70 years old. He was a 1976 or 78 IAS who worked as an IAS officer for a few years, then quit. He became an entrepreneur. He set up a manufacturing business in Kerala, made it a very successful manufacturing business, raised capital from Japan, and sold it to a Japanese company. And then he came out, he became independent director, he became an investor in many companies. And then his last job, he retired early this year as a chairman of Federal Bank. I mean, as a career, uh, there are people who work for 40 years in a bank, they never end up as a chairman of a bank. There are people who build companies. See, if you have dealt with raising capital and if you have dealt with Japanese, you will know how difficult it is to get money from Japan. They're extremely difficult to work with. They're so close. They take too much of time. Even if they like you, they take years to open up with you. I have a Japanese friend. It took him 6 years to have a beer with me. They're like that. They 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 just don't open up easily. Today he discusses his family, everything with me, but they take so much time to be comfortable with you. So getting them to invest and getting them to buy out because they are so quality conscious. So imagine setting up a manufacturing company and that too in the blood space. So it's called Terumo Penpal. Penpal is the company. If you donate blood or if you get blood for anybody in your family, you get it in a sachet. They manufacture that. So it demands highest quality standards. So he built it with the best quality standard, so much so that when post acquisition they were setting up a new plant in Indonesia or somewhere, they actually got the guys from Kerala, India to go there and set it up because their quality standards were as high. Right, so he built a company like that, and I've had a 5.5 hours conversation with him in 3 parts. Listen to it. I mean, I've had people who were retired IS officers who listened to it and said, I didn't realize that I sat through 2 hours for it and it was brilliant. Because the clarity of
Do
thought
share
here.
your,
Sorry?
sir, do share your YouTube channel link here, sir. I
Okay.
would like
It's
to
future
explore.
fast. I just checked it out.
It's just
It
So
named
actually,
as Future Fast. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
fast messages.
Yeah, it's not cast, it's fast FAST.
FAST, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fast.
Yeah. No, there are some amazing guys. I've been really lucky to get those people, and uh, uh, I think it's very good if you guys can actually get to that. In fact, honestly, I tell my I mean, obviously, my wife didn't like it when I told my son that even if you miss school, it's okay. But what you will learn out of here will be better than any college can teach you, because I seriously believe I think I have become so much rich since last year because I'm doing this. I'm able to get to do conversation with a lot of such people. It's super learning, and it's really mind expanding, right? So try making time for these kind of things. I'm not trying to sell it because it's mine, because I think these people are great. Follow them. Uh, Even Bala, he writes, he has written 4 5 books. Uh, Very good work. I mean, even if you just read what he writes on LinkedIn, it's amazing. Each word is weighed, right? You don't think there's a word which is wasted. So it's so difficult for me to write something because of interacting with all such people, right? That I don't want to be writing something which, even if it's going to waste your time, right? That kind of a thought comes in when you interact with such people. So you should actually engage and follow such, so that you see how do you be more meaningful, more relevant. Sorry, we took too much of time. Thank you so much, and all the very best. I know this
Thank
is
you
the
so
last
much, sir.
session.
Thank you so much for mentoring. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Yep.